everybody, I'm Devon O'Day, and welcome to Devon's Table. And for Devon's Table, I'm going to go to Sylvia's table. Sylvia Ganier is here from Green Door Gourmet, where we are in the Green Door Gourmet kitchen. And this show is not just about cooking, is it?
No, it's about everything you can imagine to make your home a little bit better. Tips, tricks, all kinds of fun things to learn about.
We are in the kitchen, and it smells so good. And we're going to feature the Amber Falls
Blackberry wine.
Oh, man.
We had a taste of it before when we were just enjoying it, and then it got the wheels spinning.
Yeah.
How can I use it for more culinary purposes as well? Because we talked about you should never cook with a wine that you wouldn't want to drink.
Yeah.
So we certainly wanted to drink this wine, so now we're going to cook with it. And it lends itself really nicely to something sweet. And it's that time of year for
cranberry sauce.
And you can get cranberry sauce in the store, it's fine, but it's something that's so simple to make at home, and you should just walk on the wild side every now and then and experiment with something else.
That's right.
Couldn't get any simpler. You get 2 bags of cranberries, just 2 of the 12-ounce bags of cranberries.
And they are tart. They are tart. I will tell you, cranberries are tart.
Yeah, this is not one you want to snack on before it goes in the pot. You will have a very sour face. But you just get some beautiful, of course I always like getting organic, but if you can't find organic, use regular cranberries. Put those in a saucepan. You want one that has kind of a taller spot. You don't want one that's very flat and wide. Yeah. You want an actual pot. Put those in. Put in about half a bottle of Amber Falls Blackberry wine. And then your favorite, of course my favorite, is the Green Door Blackberry preserves.
The preserves, you want some pith to it. You want some good stuff.
Yes, if you just put jelly in, it's going to be a much thinner product. And so you want to use jam or preserves if you can find them. This is a 9-ounce jar. If you like a little bit more blackberry flavor because cranberries aren't your thing, add a little bit more of the blackberry.
Oh my gosh.
And the wine and the jam are already going to be sweet. So you don't need a lot of sugar. So you could put in about half a cup of sugar, and it would be just perfect. I like cinnamon. I put in, if they're big, I'd put in 2. If they're small like this, I'd put in 3 cinnamon sticks. It goes in the pot, turn it on, let it boil, and just let it start cooking down.
Oh my goodness. And but you don't cook it high. You just let it simmer.
Yeah, you just bring it to a boil and then turn it way down.
Okay. To a boil, turn it way down.
And then using a spoon, and we're going to talk more about spoons, but this is just a wooden spoon. And I like to use a wooden spoon because it's non-reactive in the pan. It's
Okay.
not going to, cause anything going
And
crazy.
what does that mean, non-reactive?
So different metals react differently with different foods.
Okay.
And so a lot of the bigger spoons that you find are aluminum.
Oh,
And
okay.
aluminum and enamel can react with certain foods, especially if they're acidic, aka wine.
Oh, okay.
So in order to make it not taste kind of minerally or irony, then I like to use wooden spoons. I'm an old Southern country cook. Give me a wooden spoon.
That's
I
right.
keep people in line as well as make a good dish. It's all good. So, and I just kind of stir this around, and this is going to cook down. And you can see it's been simmering for a little bit here, but as you go through, you'll see that as it cooks down, you'll see a little layer, a little rim of it right there on the pot. And you're going to cook this to the consistency you like.
Okay.
If you like a really thick sauce, continue to just let it simmer. Slow and low. You can let it go half a day or more. Just watch it, stir it. Make sure you're stirring every now and then so nothing is scalding, nothing is sticking, and you'll know.
Right.
I like mine a little more loose, not runny, but a little more loose because I want it to kind of meld in with my dressing and my turkey and everything else. Where if it's just sitting there, it's like, Also, when you put this in the refrigerator, it's going to congeal up a little bit more too because it gets cold, and the pectin will set when it gets cold.
Because your preserves have pectin, and so that's your thickener. That helps as the thickener.
Yes, so you don't have to go and add anything else other than that little bit of sugar to bind it. Some people like brown sugar, a little more robust flavor. But I had this handy, and I wanted to use up something I already had handy, and so we just use this. You want to grab?
I do, because the taste of it, the taste is in the tasting.
And Devon, I always love to just keep a little container of spoons out by where I'm cooking. So they're handy to taste because you can't cook unless you're tasting the food. So just grab a fun little glass that has a good memory for something for you and keep some spoons handy out on the counter and cook away. It's good?
No, it's great. Half a bottle of Amber Falls Blackberry, 2 bags of cranberries, a 9-ounce jar of the blackberry preserves from Green Door. I'm going to say that, and a half cup of sugar and 3 cinnamon sticks. That's all it takes. Low and slow. That's what we do here at Devon's Table. And you have your bread. Oh, this would be so good on a turkey sandwich with some Havarti cheese.
You gonna make me one of those?
Yes.
Okay, let's go find some turkey.
With some yummy bread from Green Door. That's the way we do it. Yeah. We'll be right back.
I'm Katie Martin.
And I'm Chris Hicks, and we're Extension Agents with the University of Tennessee.
Every day, Extension agents in 95 counties across the state help ensure Tennesseans have better farms, homes, and communities.
We're traveling to Upper Cumberland to introduce you to the farmers, families, and Extension agents who are cultivating communities. Chris, Katie, and Grace is with us to head to Overton County today to meet up with our good buddy Jason Garrett and talk about agriculture in Overton County.
Welcome to Overton County. My name is Jason Garrett, the UT Extension Agent here for the University of Tennessee. Overton County, it's a special place to me. I'm fortunate enough to be the Ag Representative for the University of Tennessee here in my home county. A little bit about Overton County. If you was to come down the main highway and turn off in any back road, you're going to run into cattle. Overton County is a cattle county. Beef cattle production is the #1 commodity marketed out of Overton County yearly. Overton County, in numbers, ranks number 11 in the total number of all cattle, cows, calves, and bulls in the state of Tennessee out of 95 counties. Also in Overton County, cattle have to eat. We are a big forage producing county. About every farmer here in my county produces their own hay, some market hay. I have many producers that use the University of Tennessee Extension office here in the county for recommendations on hay, spraying, seeding dates, all of that. So we have a lot of forage production here. Also with Overton County Extension, I work a lot with beekeepers, pond enthusiasts, wildlife enthusiasts developing food plots, gardeners, seeing a big increase in that. A lot of individuals are moving here from other states, buying up small tracts of land. They're interested in agriculture, and they're using the Overton County Extension Office as their go-to place to find out research-based information that they're new and wanting to learn more from. Also here in Overton County, personally, I used to be a landscaper. I used to landscape full-time, build lawns, landscapes. I get a lot of lawn and landscape questions, which is right down my alley. Also here in Overton County, we have a feral hog program. I work with the United States Department of Agricultural hog trapper. We have a full-time hog trapper here in Overton County. Many landowners over the past few years have called me on what to do, so I work with them on the best management practices available and also introduce them to my trapper we have here to help them eliminate the destructive feral hog that we have a problem with here in Overton County. Overton County, parts of the county are heavily wooded. The second greatest agricultural commodity marketed out of Overton County yearly is timber. Hey, this is W.J. Staggs, Overton County farmer, and most of all a logger. Been logging his whole life, and up to about 20 years ago, mules was the way that he would get his timber out of the woods. And this is a way that loggers years ago, the only way that they had to get timber out of the woods.
About anything you can do with a mule, I can do it with these here.
About any old-fashioned agricultural practice, traditional, he does with mules.
Well, my name is Randall Boswell. I've been fooling with them all my life. I used to ride one when I wasn't big enough to walk through the field while my daddy'd plow. I always said I cut my teeth on these knobs here on the hame of an old mule. And then about 30-something years later, I lost my teeth with hames on an old mule, so, you know. But been doing it all my life. Used to farm with them all the time. Now just play with them, you know. Everything with horses, mules. I usually try to keep some of both. Yeah, this is a dying art. Horse and mule work is. There's not many around anymore that works them. These horses is Heiflingers. I've had them about, well, I guess I'll have them 3 weeks Saturday, 3 weeks tomorrow, I guess. I bought them off of an elderly gentleman up in Albany, Kentucky, named Bob Sawyer. He broke them to work and had them ever since they was colts. They're both geldings. They work good. They stand there all day and never move. Tobin Joe's her name. That lead horse over there's Tobin. This Joe here. They work real good. We try to get in all the parades that we can around Lewiston, Byrdstown, Monterey, Cookville, you know, that we can get in and just help support the parades and stuff, and help support the communities. But we just like to fool with them. If we tried to make a living with them, well, we couldn't feed them no way. So we just got them for the enjoyment and for other people to enjoy, you know. And it's a dying art that, you know, that we want to keep it going as long as we can, you know. Just something to have some fun with, you know. enjoy a little life in between working all the time.
You can follow the great shows from Cultivating Communities, the UT Extension Service in Smith County, with our friends Katie Martin and Chris Hicks. Thank you so much for contributing, guys, and thanks for all you do to help us get back to the goodness of the earth. Tell us a little bit about how we don't cut ourselves when we do butternut squash.
Well, you have to think about it from country logic. If something is giving you a problem, then you want to solve that issue. And if it's hard, how do you make it soft? You're going to put it in a pot of boiling water. You don't need to salt the water. You don't need to do anything else to it. Just make sure that the pot of water is big enough that this guy can go down in it.
Okay.
Put a lid on it, bring it up to a boil. Depending on the size of the squash, this was a big one, it's going to cook about 10 minutes. Okay? After it cooks about 10 minutes, you see, look, the skin wants to come right off. Done. Just a regular vegetable peeler. You're peeling your squash.
Oh my goodness.
So easy. And then after the peel is off, or even if I didn't take the peel off, we'll use this side right here. Now grab the knife. The knife goes right in it. Just so easy. You can go all the way down. And you got your squash.
That's funny.
And don't try to cut through the knob. That's another thing that a lot of people do. Just go ahead and sacrifice that. Take it off. Because this is like cutting through a tree trunk, even after you have tried to boil it down. So just take it off. It's so much easier. And then just take your knife down through, and you got squash.
Oh, that's just
You can
wonderful.
grab your spoon, scoop out the seeds, put that in your compost bin, come back and peel the rest of it.
Okay, after you boil, here's the crazy question. Can you save those seeds and plant those seeds?
Yes, because you have not cooked this all the way through. You see, this is still a harder flesh down the middle of this. We've just taken, you can see the cooking line right here. So the seeds should still be viable in this. Now, if it is roasted all the way through or boiled all the way through, no, you can't use those seeds.
But now just a little parboil on it, and you can save the seeds, let them dry, and plant them next season. Oh, that's awesome.
Here is the easiest recipe ever for a wine margarita. You're going to start with a bottle of Amber Falls Winery Pinot Gris white wine, a very light, crisp, and refreshing dry white, and a bag of Lieutenant Blender's Margarita in a Bag wine freezer. You'll also need salt. I mixed mine with sugar, limes, and some ice, or you could just freeze your mix as well. The directions are right on the side of the bag to add water up to the first line, as you can see I did here, and fill it up with wine to the second line. Then you're going to shake it up just to get everything well incorporated and mixed. While my margarita was in the freezer, I went ahead and sliced a lime and then salted the rim of my glass. At this point, you can wait for the margarita to completely freeze, or you can just serve it over ice like I did here. And I just served it with a lime wedge. Enjoy.
Now we're going to take a look at Green Door Gourmet's exotic meats, Tennessee meats, and some things from their dairy case. If you'd like some good, locally grown and sourced bacon and pork products, Hitman has a great bacon, and it's wonderful for seasoning. And take a look at the dairy case with locally sourced butters, sour creams, vegan butters, and also the glass bottom milk from the JD Dairy. Oh my goodness, their chocolate milk is so good. It's like the best I've ever had. You can recycle the bottles by bringing them back or use them for something at your own farm. They're just incredible. Now let's take a look at the Tennessee grass-fed products. Whether it's patties and ground beef and stew meat, they're just locally sourced, so they're right here. You can't get fresher than being right here at home. And let's talk about Gulf shrimp. How about the pork bratwurst? Now let's head over to Cheatham County's Amaru Farms. They have emu, ostrich, and duck meat.
And we've got a story coming up about why those are very important meats. What does emu taste like? What does ostrich taste like? Well, it's a great substitute for beef, and it has a lot of health benefits as well.
Hey friends, it's Julie. Welcome back to Row & Co Farms. Today I'm going to bring you a great recipe for emu broth. I know you guys are thinking, why in the world would you be making emu broth? That is really weird, but you guys just don't realize that emu tastes just like beef. So if you're like me, I have a condition called alpha-gal syndrome. I can no longer consume any mammal products, which means no beef, no pork, no deer, no moose, and none of the byproducts from them, including bone broth. So I had to give up all of my beef stock and my pork stock, and now I had to figure out what I was going to make instead. So I discovered emu bones. So we're going to take these emu bones and we're going to turn these into a beautiful, delicious bone broth. And I'm going to show you guys how to do it. It's really simple. You only need a few ingredients. Of course, you're going to need your emu bones, which you can get from a company called Amber Hills. I'm going to leave a link for them down below. They're a great little farm. They specialize in emu, duck, ostrich, and goose. And if you have alpha-gal syndrome, they're the place to go. Those are the alternative meats that you can eat besides chicken and turkey, okay? So hook yourself up with some emu bones from Amber Hills, and then add along with that some carrots, onion, garlic, and celery, and a little bit of salt, and a splash of apple cider vinegar. Those things are going to create the most delicious broth that you have ever tasted. So let's get started. Come along, guys. I'm going to show you how we do it. So let's put our bones onto this roasting pan, because we're going to start off by roasting these for about 1 hour in the oven. We're going to coat them with just a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of salt. Just make sure that we rub them in really well. So you're going to roast those bones in your oven at about 450 for about an hour. Our bones are beautifully roasted, and now we're going to place them into our Instant Pot with all of our ingredients. Just add all your veggies. There's no need to even cut them up. Just toss them into your Instant Pot. Let's add our bones in. And any juice or oil that's left from our pan. About 1/4 to 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar. That'll help break down our bones for us. And fill the whole thing up with water to your max line. Now let's add about 2 teaspoons of salt. So we're gonna let it pressure cook for 2.5 hours, and when it's finished, we're gonna let the pressure decrease naturally on its own and cool off just a little. Let's strain our broth and see what it looks like. So if you guys can see, you remember our bones were big and long like this when we started, and now they've become so tender and brittle that they've just broken apart, and the insides are now out. So this is exactly what you want when you're making bone broth, is you want those bones to break down and add nutrition into your broth. So let's take a look at the final product. It is so delicious. The color is wonderful. It tastes almost just like beef broth, and I can't wait to use this in future recipes. I'm going to leave a link down below, but check it out for yourself, guys, and I can't wait to see you next time here at Rowe & Co Farms.
Hi, my name is Shannon Pruitt. I'm a garden supervisor here at Cheekwood. I want to welcome you to our pumpkin patch for Harvest 2022. We have a few new things I want to introduce you to that we're very excited about. We have a third pumpkin house, which you'll see directly behind me. It's a different shape. It has a whole different look to it, so we're very excited. It really brings our pumpkin village to life. We have our other two houses that you may have seen in years prior, but they look new and different with different pumpkin selections. When you're looking at our pumpkin houses, make sure to look at the roofs, make sure to look at the window boxes, the planters. There's all kinds of stuff to see. We also will have corn dig pits for little kids. They can search for mini pumpkins inside of loose corn, something to keep them occupied for a little while you sip on a drink and enjoy your time in our pumpkin patch. We've got 10,000 plus pumpkins for you to enjoy within our garden space. When you come visit us at Cheekwood, make sure you come visit the color garden where you'll see a mum explosion. We have colors of red, orange, yellow, white. We also have plant-themed scarecrows in our seasons garden, which is very fun for the kids. Bring your friends and family out to Cheekwood to see our pumpkin village. Lots of great Instagram photo spots.
Here with Sylvia Ganier in the special behind-the-scenes kitchen where you are cooking down
Sorghum. Now, sorghum is, of course, a staple in the South. It was the original sweetener for the Appalachian Mountains because we couldn't grow sugar cane. You'll hear it sometimes called sorghum molasses. It really is two different things. Molasses comes from the runoff of sugar cane, the byproduct of making sugar. Sorghum comes from the sorghum cane that you're just squeezing down the juice. And you get a big, long, tall cane. You're going to squeeze down that long cane after you've taken the leaves off, put it through a press, and you get about 3 to 5 ounces of juice out of that one stalk of cane. From that, we bring it over to a great big huge steam kettle. There's a bigger one in behind where Devon is over there. And then we cook down about 80 gallons of sorghum juice at a time.
Wow.
When it gets down to about 30 gallons, we transfer it from the big kettle over there to the smaller tilt skillet over here. And then that's going to cook down, and from 80 gallons, on a good day, we're going to get about 10 gallons left. So that's a lot of evaporation going from this to that. As you'll see, it's beginning to kind of caramelize, and that's what you want. You want that nice toasty, that smell. Can you smell it through the camera, everybody? I bet you can. You see it all.
It is wonderful.
This is like cooking down a sugar and making a caramel sort of note to that syrup. So once it gets to right at the hard boil stage, about 226, that's when we're going to stop the temperature and we're going to strain it off, and then it goes into production and it makes true, actual sorghum that you can eat. You put in the jar, you keep on your shelf, and you keep going. So we take a very old-time grain, if you will, or cane, and turn it into something a little bit more newfangled by using some specialized equipment that we figured out how to make it exactly. It sure is delicious. Let's try some.
I like this spoon too. These are your sorghum making tools right there. That's like the longest spoon known to man.
Yeah, this is actually made by a guy named Ray Stansel, and he is this amazing woodworker that lives right down the road. This is some spalted maple, and that is the sorghum spoon. And I get really upset if anybody uses it for anything other than making sorghum. You need a candy thermometer, and we also have a probe thermometer to double check if you can't get your arm down in there, because that is like putting your arm into boiling sugar. You have to be very careful, and it's not fun if you get it on you. When we first bring the stuff out of the field, we use these big china cups or conical sieves, if you will, to strain down some of the debris. You're getting that pulp, just like with orange juice.
Yeah.
Sorghum will have pulp, and you want to skim and strain all that off so you have a more pure kind of product. And then when it's all done, we put it into big batches, and then we have delicious sorghum that we can put into jars and sell.
And you have like eat it on biscuits? And
you can eat this on a biscuit, you can whip it into butter, you can make a cocktail out of it if it's been a long day of pressing sorghum. Whatever that you could use a molasses type flavor or even a maple syrup type flavor in, it's delicious with that. Great on sweet potatoes, wonderful for baking. Maybe I'll give you some sorghum cookies in a little bit, Devon, you can try it.
Yum.
There are a couple of things to kind of be aware of with sorghum, you know, when you're planting or trying to get a stand established, is that a planter is better than a drill. It does a better job of placing that seed uniformly. We're shooting for about 1 inch to maybe 1.25 inches, so it doesn't have to be planted as deep as corn. It doesn't really need to be. And then close that planter slot good to keep the herbicides out. And so that will kind of help you get a little bit more emergence that is uniform. So if you have a field where a good percentage of your plants are coming up at about the same time, usually that means they'll start flowering at the same time and it'll be ready to harvest at the same time too. So kind of shooting for uniform emergence is kind of where people need to be kind of, you know, starting out the gate. We do recommend a medium to a full variety. We also recommend as long a growing season as possible for maximum yield. And we can plant grain sorghum in Tennessee in late April if the soils are warm enough, but usually most folks are planting in May. We can also plant sorghum into June, but that cuts into the growing season, and usually June planted sorghum yields less, and also you have a lot more insect problems with late planted sorghum. So to try to maximize yield, get it planted early in warm ground and give it as long a season as possible.
My name's Jason Goolesby with Blackwell Realty and Auction, and I'm here at Turner's Grain Silo in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. So tell me, how does a person get in the Airbnb business?
Well, in 2018, we took a 22-day trip on a motorcycle out to Seattle, Washington, down the Pacific Coast Highway to San Diego, and then back. 7,014 miles on a motorcycle.
You didn't trailer any of this?
No, we were.
You were riding on the back of this motorcycle?
I was.
Did you drive any?
No, I did not drive. I just rode. But we stayed in several Airbnbs, and Jim was like, we could do this. With your gift of hospitality, and I could build them, we could do this. And I said, let's get finished with our vacation.
Jim's a woodworker and a builder, by the way.
Yes. So we decided once we got home, the opportunity presented itself literally 2 days later. It was such a God thing. A utility shed for a lady that we were delivering some things to. She wanted to get rid of it, and we bought it.
And you had all this time. You have these microphones in your helmets, right? And so you have all this time to talk all these miles on the highway. So it really was born on the highway.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Born to be wild. So you started off with that first Airbnb that someone gave you, and y'all converted it into the shed, and you converted it into Airbnb. But then you decide a silo. This is only the second silo in Tennessee on Airbnb. So what led you guys to choose the silo to renovate and rent out?
It was 100% Jim's idea. He said my daddy would just love that if we could turn something where he used to feed his animals on the farm into a home. So we did it in honor of him, and
awesome.
That's why it's called Turner's Grain Silo. And it was sitting up on the hill about a quarter of a mile away, and he put skids up underneath it and sledded it down here with a tractor, pulled it down here with a tractor, and it took him about 5 months of a lot of work, a whole lot of work.
And Turner passed away not too long ago.
In November the 11th of 2017.
2017. And so I'm certain that he would just be amazed at what you guys have done in it.
Yes.
But Turner was a farmer, and who did he work for?
Rudy's.
He worked for Rudy's Farm Sausage. He not only was he farm at home, but he worked for a farmer.
Exactly.
And so he used this silo. This is not something that you guys just picked out and pulled over. This was
his.
This was your husband Jim's dad's silo.
So the table on the front porch, Jim actually made out of the augers that came out of the silo. We had a lady that we do a marriage group with that brought us the glass, and I thought, what in the world are we going to do with this? And Jim knew straight away, I'm going to build a table and I'm going to use the auger. So he can make anything. All winter, so that you could see whether it be springtime, summertime, fall, so that it would always be a beautiful view of the trees and the pasture. I mean, it's not a bad view no matter what the season is. So the ladders were actually, that was one ladder that actually came into the grain silo. They would climb in just to check the moisture level. So Jim took that apart and into two pieces and then built the little side tables to go beside the bed. So the vanity in the bathroom, the actual vanity was sitting out on my mother-in-law's property for the last, I don't know, at least 30 years. And so when Jim found it, I sanded it. It took me all day long to sand all the rust and funk off of it. And he shot it with 3 coats of enamel and made it look sparkly and clean and perfect. And then once we got it in here, it's already got some little chips and dings in it, so it makes it perfect and goes perfectly.
So let's talk about who's your typical customer. So Mount Juliet, we're in the backwoods of Mount Juliet, all right? But we're growing, the area is just exploding. But who's your typical customer that comes to Mount Juliet, comes way out here in the country to be at this secluded place?
We have got such a variety of people coming. The guests that come, we have people from Indiana and Pennsylvania and Chicago and Arizona and Missouri and Louisiana, from everywhere. Most of our stays are 1 or 2 nights. Right. We have had several that are 4 or 5 nights. We have people coming for 30th birthday parties, or we have somebody that's coming because their niece is graduating. So many different
honeymooners. We've
had 6 honeymooners here in the silo and 8 honeymooners at the cabin because they get married on a Saturday. They don't want to go out, fly out for their honeymoon until like Sunday.
The next day.
So they just stay one night here.
So, as a realtor, we have a lot of people that are looking for Airbnb properties. They want to say, hey, look for me an Airbnb, look for me an Airbnb. So I see a lot of people that have misconceptions about being an Airbnb host. You just slap up, you have a place and you just slap it up there on that website and then they just sit back and you make the money, right?
No. That's not how it works.
What are some of those misconceptions? What are some of the misconceptions that people have, or what are some of the hard parts about being an Airbnb guest?
Well, I don't know if I would say it was a hard part, but communication is key. What our expectations are as far as check in and check out. We have to let them know about our incinerating toilet. It's a little bit different. But also, I think probably the biggest thing is cleaning. But I want every single surface that is in here that could potentially be touched.
Right.
I want it to be cleaned. I want it to be disinfected, and I want people to feel safe when they come in, that they can walk in here barefooted, and that everything is clean and sanitized and disinfected.
And so you have that communication between guests, which is very important. The cleaning aspect. And then you follow up to get that super host rating on Airbnb. You follow up to get reviews because, like any other business, reviews are key.
Yes, absolutely. We always want a 5-star review. If at all possible, they ask you things about the location, about cleanliness, things like that. We do this all in His name and for His glory.
Right.
It's all about, I pray for the people before they get here. I pray while I'm cleaning after they leave, traveling mercies over them. I want people to come and feel at peace.
Right.
And feel His presence here, because that's why we do this.
Right. Is she gone?
Oh, thank you for joining us for Devon's Table. And remember, like we always say, if you're looking for a blessing, you gotta first be one. I love it. Bye, everybody.